Bienvenidos, worldwide fans of the planet's hottest entertainment with an edge. I'm Enfuego, back here for another installment of my namesake program, Enfuegotainment, and for a rapido Fuego review of a film that finally hit the American audience possibility of viewing just about a month ago. We are talking the writing directorial debut of Ninian Doff's Got Duked! That's right. So this was originally titled Boyz in the Wood, and it actually premiered at South by Southwest like a year and a half ago in 2019, like March 2019. And yes, so finally getting to American audiences after being, I'm presuming, purchased by Amazon Studios, because I think this was made by itself and then they acquired it. And so yeah, August 28th it went live, and I just finally watched it last night. And I must admit, this was legit one of the funniest films that I have seen, not just this year, but in the last few years, in recent memory. So basically, it's like a mashup of sorts of The Hunt and Attack the Block, I guess, with a little bit of a like psychedelic twist and also like kind of a hip-hop sort of twist, more so even than in Attack the Block, you know, where those kids were like, I guess, you know, kind of wannabe thugs, and you know, kind of like, you know, over in the UK, those sort of, you know, I mean, urban kids, man. I mean, and you had a great performance by John Boyega in that one, and it was about, you know, just like a bunch of, you know, hard-nosed kids and their equivalent of the projects fighting aliens. This one is about a bunch of hard-nosed kids that go to the Highlands in Scotland, and yeah, they're basically being put on this thing that the Queen of England's husband, the Duke of Edinburgh, something like that. Hey, I can't remember every specific detail, but so basically the Duke had put together this thing like decades and decades before, where basically troubled kids and also kids that are really attempting to like lay their mark in academia, which is an interesting dichotomy which you have in the cast in this, basically have to forage their way across the Scottish Highlands and basically just fend for themselves and employ teamwork and you know, just problem solving and foraging and all this different stuff. And so the thing that is so amusing is you've got these three kids that are like, you know, like kind of outcast thug hip-hop kids, one of which is MC Beetroot, and he's got his two little like kind of lackeys, I guess you could say, who are like part of his crew, so to speak. And the three of them are paired with this kid who is trying to get to university, and he sees getting through this and possibly taking the main medal and getting to meet the royal family and all this other stuff as his ticket to just a much better, you know, just post-high school, whatever they call it over there, opportunity. And so, yeah, it's an odd pairing in that regard, because the one kid is homeschooled and very straight-laced and everything, and the other three are troublemakers, and they're there because they were almost expelled from school for one of them trying to light their shit on fire, and they end up like blowing up the entire bathroom practically. So, but the chemistry between these four kids is really hilarious, and it wasn't quite what I expected in the fact that I thought it was going to be more so picking on the nerdier kid, and they kind of rib him a little bit, but they embraced him a little more so, and definitely quicker than I anticipated, which was cool. And yeah, so their camaraderie definitely becomes just tighter, but is also tested significantly when a presumed Duke and his companion, his wife, who were both these masked characters, but this Duke, so to speak, well, boy, maybe I can't exactly spoil who that particular person is, but there's basically a masked, older, kind of like high society assailant who starts trailing them through the Highlands on a horse, shooting at them and just ridiculing them and antagonizing them, but in a joking manner. This was covered by the horror sites, but it is so far from anything horror. I mean, The Hunt, I guess, was more so a satire, just like this one is too, but this is, especially with the goofy rap music, the aspect from DJ Beetroot and everything, this is much more so on the comedic dark comedy side of everything, as opposed to yeah, I mean, the aforementioned Hunt and Attack the Block, which are much more so rooted in their respective horror and stuff. So this one is much more comedic, and it's such a flashy film in its presentation. in the fact that, like, from just segueing to like animated sequences with maps and stuff like that, to if you watch the Red Band trailer, you see the psychedelia that I mentioned, which comes from eating a very amusing thing that is throughout the Scottish Highlands. And there is a scene with a bunch of like just the farmers who live in that land, in that rural area, just a big group setting with one of our characters that is absolutely hilarious, and it's very well done and trippy too, I must admit. Who knows how accurate of a representation it is, as somebody who has done psychedelics at times in my life, but still visually arresting, very slick for, I mean, for a first-time director here. You know, I mean, I was very, very much impressed with just the editing techniques, the DP, whoever he had assisting him with that. I mean, the cinematography is incredible in this film. I mean, one of the most beautiful places in the world, obviously. The rolling greens and the mountains and everything is just wonderful. And so, yes, it is a beautiful looking film, especially for a directorial debut. You can tell some money was spent on this, and it's legit hilarious. And it's honestly, it doesn't derive all of its humor from our four leads and the predicament that they have themselves in. There is a subplot with the local law enforcement that might have even been funnier, in my estimation. And so they have these reports of, it all ties together with one of our characters downloading the terrorist handbook or whatever the hell it is. And so he did it at a friend's house, and so that friend gets implicated, and they think there is terrorism, you know, just at work. And then a couple officers, both of them relatively bumbling, they start investigating, and they don't necessarily get the answers that they think they do, without spoiling too much. And there's a subplot with how they should be prioritizing as the most, you know, top thing to put all of their resources and efforts into is the case of the bread thief, and how like half the bread is missing in the area. And there's one monologue that we get from a top law enforcement person who comes in, and granted, this branch is worried about being shut down because of just lack of stuff for them to do, which is why they're after bread thieves in the first place. But this woman talking about how she hasn't had a baguette in weeks, and how the ducks are revolting, and just it's one of the funniest scenes. It's very British, obviously, in that sort of deadpan comedic aspect, but I was getting some vibes of like Kiwi humor too, like the, you know, sort of a New Zealandish vibe. I'm a big fan of, you know, stuff like Flight of the Conchords, and I guess now that I think about it, you know, stuff like Spaced, and oh boy, what's another one that I could think of, you know, Mighty Boosh and stuff like that. That's also very deadpan, just derpy weird. This film is super, super weird, but in the most delightfully demented fashion. It's not particularly violent, except for a couple instances, and even more so than that, which surprised me, it had some serious social commentary, just about, you know, the haves and the have-nots, and obviously that's, you know, that could divide some people, the message that this film tries to really drive home in its finale, but it worked for me, and it wasn't so heavy-handed about it, and there seemed to be, at least as far as the elitism, it's not just here in America, you know? The fact that this is you know, a UK film, yeah, it most definitely, it wore its influences and its messages on its sleeve, but not in that just forcing it down your throat sort of thing. And also the fact that, yeah, this isn't just a problem here where I live. This is very much a just, I don't know, it's a dilemma pretty much everywhere, and I would imagine it's been the case since the dawn of civilized society, and just, you know, the extent of the gap and whatever. But I'm not here to wax like crazily about that. The music in this is really funny. The fact that DJ Beetroot, his musical number that I told you with all the farm people, when I say get, you say duked. It's in the trailer. It's a funny song. But really the fact that all of his raps up until that point were all about his dick or whatever. But they had heavy hitters musically in this too. Like Run the Jewels is in there, and I'm sure a lot of other, you know, since I'm not like super hip-hop person, whether it's, you know, the mumblecore that we get so much of here in the US, or all kinds of different avant-garde stuff, but I have an appreciation, and it was great music, catchy, very well produced, the beats were dope. I mean, yeah, everything about this film really surprised me. I was expecting to be amused based on the trailer, and I ended up being goddamn delighted by this movie. So this is one of my favorites of the year, for sure. This is 4 out of 5 Fuego Fireballs. This is a certified Fuego, hashtag that shizzle. So yeah, I will leave it at that. Recommend it. It's free if you are a Prime member, so Amazon Prime. Check out Get Duked! It's a hilarious film. So, I've been Jaime Enfuego. Y'all can find me on all social media sectors like Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, here on YouTube. Please like, share, subscribe here on my solo channel. It's about to go through some alterations that have been a long time coming. I've teased them here and there. The logistics and you know, certain things have just basically shifting more so from reviews to more news coverage and stuff like that. It's long been a passion of mine. So hopefully getting all of the groundwork finally finished for that in the coming days, sometime in October probably. And I'm also thinking about, since on The Horror Show, which is my other bigger YouTube channel, youtube.com/The Horror Show channel, we are completely logged on that channel, booked like to the brim with content in October. And there's a lot we're not going to be able to cover. So I'm kind of talking over with Cecil, my co-producer over there and the showrunner and creator on The Horror Show, about just doing some Shocktober coverage over here, basically just some overflow coverage that we know we're never going to have the chance to cover. I probably would have the chance here, but there's still lots. I mean, October is so stacked, it's bonkers. So if you have any interest in that, if you know me from that channel, let me know in the comments below. That would probably help my cause of imploring doing spectacular stuff over here, as opposed to just putting it in the vault and seeing when the hell we can actually put it out over on that channel. But obviously over there, if you like film reviews, comic reviews, television stuff, video games, trailer reactions, yes, you can find all of that there. It is your spectacular destination for all things variety of the spectacular. So, I've been Fuego, y'all have been rad status, and until the reel of Ka comes around once more, hasta luego, cinemigos. Constant viewers and readers alike say thank you for stopping by my YouTube channel today, and I hope we share more of this film palaver sooner rather than later. And until next time, yeah, get duked!